Hi, welcome to the bathtub. This is the special festive edition of the bathtub. I can't play the music too long because you can't, because it warps everything. Every time I tape this, the music overpowers everything. Not that I have anything to say, but it's important to say it. This is the special festive edition, as I mentioned, of the bathtub. We've been doing these since the 30s. As a result of a bet. This used to be a radio program back in Fresno, California, back in the 30s, and it was a bet between me, Jack Benny, and Arthur Godfrey during a USO tour, and I ended up doing these festive bathtub editions all the way into the whatever the hell we're in now. And my hat's on wrong. Everything's been a bit of a disaster. I've taped this like several times because it's been such a disaster, and I got the special I've been wearing this since 1937. Our special Christmas sweater and Christmas hat. You'll see we've got a new chair. Special. This is from the props department, but it's actually my chair. I use this to read. And today's episode. Oh, now I don't even know where I put the damn book. Oh, this is really good. This is a disaster. Our episode today. This is like my fifth time of taping it. Is why I've decided not to reread Thomas Pynchon's Mason-Dixon over the Christmas holiday. Now, Christmas holidays are great times to read those big, immersive, useless books. I mean, Mason and Dixon, I don't care what the academics tell you, isn't going to make you a better person. You're not going to learn more about the world. It's just kind of absorb you. And it's going to be, in a great Pynchon novel, you're just going to be kind of having a great time and trying to keep up, basically, with this kind of brilliant, inventive narrative talent. I'm a big fan, as we mentioned over the course of the bathtub, of all the late Pynchons. I hate early Pynchon. Gravity's Rainbow sucks. I don't want to read it again. I don't want to read V again if I can help it. I like him from Vineland all the way up through one of my favorites, Bleeding Edge. We've talked already about my love for Inherent Vice, and I'm pretty sure I will love Against the Day once I read it a second time. I'm still recovering from the first time I read that book. So anyway, the main thing is that for Christmas we like to really kind of immerse ourselves. A good time to read a book that's very complicated, and it's great pleasure in it, but it is a complicated book. Lots of characters as usual, strange names, real innovations in the way scenes are set up, and how do you know who's talking? And Pynchon's always playing around with great little kind of clever ways of telling stories. It's also hard to read. It's a good time to have at Christmas because maybe things settle down a little bit and the horrible English election's over. This is 2019, and that nitwit Boris Johnson is just won this election, and so you have to kind of put that all out of your head and go to the bathtub every day. It's not easy to do. We got this idiot in our White House, and just this idiot's running all over the place. So I wanted to read this and kind of really get into it, and it's hard every day to find that time, and you need to focus in the bathtub, but then you also have to go into your room and have a place, a chair, a place that's comfortable. And this is my reading chair. So number one thing, the most important thing about reading is not deconstruction or having literary critical theories or knowing what the gender stereotypes were in that age or what Marxist interpretation goes on the book. The most important part of reading is being comfortable. That's the most important part, being comfortable enough to be able to focus on the book. So I've gotten about page 160 in this book, which I think is possibly a great book. We have many fans of Mason and Dixon in our bathing buddies are often telling me how much they love it. And I kind of was inspired to go back to it. But I've had a real problem, and it's not just Trump. It's not just the elections. It's not just the world's burning down around us. But I'll just show you what the problem is, which is when I get into this chair, whatever time of day it is, and wherever she happens to be, if I don't even know where she is at the moment. If I open this chair, right, she comes in here, and this is what happens. I don't even know where she was. I think she was in bed. I've been doing this is like she's exhausted. I'm exhausted because I kept retaping this all day. All day, any time of the day, as soon as I get in this chair to read this book, Lucky comes in and goes ape shit. So this is the real reason I've decided to give up on. I can't concentrate enough on it. I'm at page 160, and I've read some of the same pages over and over again. So what happens is what I usually do is while she jumps on me, I can put her down a million times, she'll just keep jumping up. No, no, don't jump over there or you're going to hurt yourself. So I'll sit up here like this, Lucky. You know, she's trying to get into my old chair because we moved all the chairs around. So she'll sit here, and then now she's chewing my hands, and she'll bite me for a while. And if I hold this up, she'll often try to get at this. Now, once I've gotten into the book, and maybe I've read one page 10 times while she's actually biting my knuckles right now. And I'll get through that page, and then she might even rest after a while. Usually she just does this for about 10 minutes. And after about 10 minutes of this, she might actually start to fall asleep. And then I have to go to the bathroom. And I get up, I go to the bathroom, and I come back, and she starts up all over again. So this is the real reason. Okay, that's okay. This is the real reason I've actually decided I'm going to put this away, and maybe another Christmas in the future I will read Mason and Dixon. I'll say a few things about it in case you're interested. If you're Pynchon fans like many of us are here, it's very different from other Pynchons, and it's very similar like other Pynchons. It's more historically rooted than Gravity's Rainbow or even Inherent Vice, or, I mean, Bleeding Edge is pretty historically rooted, which is one of the things I find interesting about it. But it's set in a period when these two astronomers go, ultimately Mason and Dixon, draw the Mason-Dixon line. And they're from the Royal Society in England, and it takes place all over the world. At one point they go to Cape Town to plot to record the transit of Venus across the sun. And eventually they go to America. And it's all the strange adventures. Now, a lot of the characters, like Mason Dixon, are real people out of history. And then many of these are real events. And many of the minor characters are real events, are real characters. And so you kind of go in and out of these kind of fantastic events, such as the opening. Basically, the opening few scenes is with a talking dog. I think it's called a Norfolk Terrier. I don't even know what the Norfolk Terrier is. And the Norfolk Terrier, and you have... and then she starts licking. And when she starts licking, it's very hard to hold a book while a dog is licking your fingers. And then you get to stick it all over your book. So this is impossible to read a very difficult book. Imagine trying to read that book. I tried to read the Flash Gordon book, which is like this big. Oh, Lucky. So it's historically rooted. There's lots of historical accuracies in it. It moves around a lot. Pynchon's really good at kind of reinventing real places, like some great scenes in London pubs and so forth in the 18th century and so forth. I'm not saying you shouldn't read it. You should not read it if you have this dog jumping all over you the whole time. You're going to have to lock him away or lock her away. But how can you say no to this little puppy? I can't say good no. Maybe when she gets older, I can read a complicated book. So I'm going to read a couple detective novels, I think, and something that's short that I don't have to think too much about, and maybe get a glove or something like that. Okay, so Lucky, say goodbye. Say Merry Christmas. This is the festive edition, the first of several festive editions. There she is, the bat face. And we're going to try to get some music going without ruining the tape. Hold on a second. Can we do this? I don't think we can. Yes, we can. Okay. So there's your music. There's your Christmas music. Props department did a great job. And thank you for the props department. And we'll see you in the next couple of weeks with a couple more festive editions. And I don't think Lucky's coming back to Christmas. I think this is all the Christmas we can have with the Christmas dog. We'll do some Lucky-less editions to close the year. Okay, happy bathing.